Hey guys, it's Zolva here, and this video is going to be a little bit different from my usual content. Today I'm going to be drawing hybrid species as I think the concept of breeding and cross-species in Sonarian lore would be pretty neat. So this is how it's going to work. I have put every single creature released in Creatures of Sonaria onto a wheel, which will randomly select a species. Each time I will spin twice to get two different random species. I will then draw a fusion of the two creatures which have been selected and then tell you guys a little bit about the hybrid which I have created. The first randomly generated pair was the tiny Boluvirex and the new heavy bleeder, the Boluvirex. I think this is such a good mix, and I was super inspired to create a bulky raptor who attacks by pouncing on their prey. These two creatures are similar enough that a hybrid could be plausible, as both of them have raptor-like builds and are very similar with their fast-paced playstyle. Since the Boluvirex will be getting a pounce attack ability in a future update, I decided to incorporate this as the overall concept for this creature. I have kept the colour palette, head crest, beak and feathers of the Boluvirex, but combined them with the markings and the curled thumb talons seen on a Boluvirex. I've decided to call this hybrid species the Boluvirex. The Boluvirex primarily hunt in large packs and attack their prey by swarming them as a group and pouncing onto the back of their victim, which inflicts heavy amounts of bleed. This species would also be an omnivore, as they would only be able to take down smaller creatures for meat, and so sometimes they would have to resort to eating berries to survive. Both Boluvirex and Boluvirex inflict bleed, so the Boluvirex would also inflict mass amounts of bleed. This hybrid species would combine the speed and manoeuvrability of a Boluvirex, but the size and strength of a Boluvirex. The Boluvirex would be a large tier 2 glass cannon. This means that they would inflict a lot of bleed and a lot of damage, but they would not have a lot of health to sustain any major counterattacks. Therefore, the Boluvirex is extremely fast. They can easily escape any conflict as they are small, fast and agile enough to evade any danger. Since the Boluvirex has 13 bleed and the Boluvirex has 1 bleed, I think that the Boluvirex would have 14 bleed. I also think that this hybrid would inherit the Boluvirex's ability to go invisible for short amounts of time, as since their health pools are small, they would need to run and hide in an emergency. And what better way to hide than become invisible? This could also be used when they hunt their prey. To summarise, the Boluvirex would ambush attack unsuspecting creatures and use their pack numbers to try and take them down, and if that didn't work, they would use their speed and inflict bleed to chase their prey. Their prey would either be too slow to outrun the Boluvirex, or they'd keep running and eventually bleed to death or run out of stamina. This creature would sound almost identical to a Boluvirex, but their calls would be deeper and more of a snarl than a shrill squeak. I had so much fun working on this hybrid species, and I think it turned out really well. You can definitely see the resemblance of the Boluvirex and the Boluvirex in this hybrid. I really hope you guys like them too. They look so cute and happy, but please be careful because these fluffy raptors bite hard. So, what do you guys think of a Boluvirex? Would you play as a Boluvirex if it ever came to Sonaria? I'm really interested to hear your thoughts, so leave them down in the comments below before I move on to the next hybrid. The next hybrid I created was a cross between a Phyluff and a Truth. I decided to use Truth's redesign, which hopefully will be implemented into the game soon. This was by far the hardest hybrid to make, as these two species are polar opposites. Phyluff is a cute Valentine's anarchy chicken, whilst the Truth is a monster from a budget horror movie. No offence. Needless to say, I didn't know where to start, so I sketched out a bird shape and kinda just rolled with it. I decided I would keep Phyluff's small size and single head, but I would incorporate the Truth's mouth, wings, extra limbs and tail onto the design. I had the hardest time deciding on how I should colour this abomination. I could not find a reference sheet for Phyluff anywhere, and so I only had this model reference sheet to work from. This made eyedropping the colours really difficult to do, and eventually I just decided to get rid of the pink altogether as it didn't go at all. I decided to make the body bulkier than the Phyluff's body to make sure that the proportions looked correct, as Truth's wings and tail are rather bulky. I used the same markings that Phyluff has, but exchanged the pink body colour for a muted dusky grey. This made the Truth's horror features look less out of place on the body. I've named this creature the True Love. and I think that the true love would be small, plump murder chickens who deal a lot of bleed but not a lot of damage. Due to the heavy limbs, they also move quite slowly. They are a herbivore who looks mean and scary. Instead of Phyluff sounds, this creature would have more high-pitched truth noises. The Truelove would attack in two ways. The first primary attack would be a bite from its serrated beak, but the second attack would be a powerful swing of its boulder tail. Much like the Lamako has a tail whip as a secondary attack, the big boulder thing on the end of Truelove's tail would be its secondary attack, and it would swing it like a wrecking ball. The Truelove tail attack would break the bones of any smaller creatures. I think the Truelove would be a large tier 2 creature, as the Phyluff is a tier 1 and the Truth is a tier 3. This little nightmare chicken would be able to inflict heavy amounts of bleed from either its serrated beak or the wrecking ball tail attack. The tail attack would inflict more bleed than its primary attack, but the tail swing would be a lot slower to use than the primary bite, and it would cost a lot of stamina to use. This would mean that the Truelove would not be able to spam this secondary attack, as stamina would run out after a few hits. Thanks to how heavy the tail and the wings are, the Truelove would not be a flying creature, but it would be able to glide. I think the Truelove would have a pretty large stamina pool so it could glide comfortably and be able to use its secondary attack a few times before it runs out of stamina. This is the design I dislike the most out of the three, as it just looks a little bit too clunky. I think if I were to draw this again, I would make the legs a bit bulkier and more like Phyluff's. Truth's legs are very lean, but when they are on a Truelove, they look a little bit too weak to support the weight. I think I would also slim the body down just a little bit, as the Truelove looks a little bit too chonky. Overall, I'm still really pleased with them considering how difficult this hybrid was to make. Last, but certainly not least, is my favourite hybrid. This was such a weird selection of creatures, as I was given an Ikoran and the huge tier 5 herbivore with the long neck, the iconic Lamako. Even though this was the most obscure pairing, I had so much fun trying to make them work. After sketching a few ideas, I settled on this concept. Since the Ikoran is based off a lion, this creature would be covered in short fur and would keep many features of a big cat throughout this design. However, I did have to change a few things, such as the body shape of both an Ikoran and the Lamako. I made the legs thick and muscular to carry the weight of the body and also give it a more powerful appearance. I made sure the neck was long, but it isn't as long as the Lamako's. The tail is a mixture of the Lamako's tail and the Ikoran's tail. I also kept the large nose horn seen on a Lamako. I mixed the colour palettes together and used the Lamako's body pattern and switched out any black in the Lamako's design for purple. This hybrid species is called the Ikosaur, but for short I'll call it the Ikosaur. The Ikosaur is a tier 5 omnivore who is extremely tanky. It would keep pretty much the same statistics as a regular Lamako, but it would move a lot faster. Thanks to how powerful this creature's legs are, it can stomp attack like a Lamako can and inflict mass amounts of damage. However, unlike the regular Lamako, the Ikosaur can do it faster while still inflicting 1000 damage. Because the Ikosaur's tail isn't as long or as powerful as the usual Lamako tail, I think the Ikosaur would have a secondary attack to replace the usual Lamako tail attack. This would be a small powerful lunge or paw swipe at its opponent. The paw swipe or lunge attack would inflict less damage, but it would also inflict 2 bleed. The Ikosaur would be weak to poison like a regular Lamako. It would also be an omnivore, and so they would not have to hunt for their food constantly, and in the wild they would not attack unless they were hungry or provoked. In the wilds of Sonaria, these tier 5 creatures would live in small packs, consisting of an alpha male and a group of females. Since the Ikoran resembles a lion, I think it would be fun if the Ikosaurs operated like a pride of lions. Male alpha Ikosaurs would be a lot larger and a lot more muscular than the female Ikosaurs. I absolutely love this design. The Ikosaurodon is my favourite hybrid species I have created so far, as it works surprisingly well. It'd be interesting to see this species implemented into the game as a subspecies of the Lamako and Ikoran. I hope you guys love this design too. Here are all of the hybrids together. Which hybrid is your favourite? I've already told you that my favourite is the Ikosaur, but I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments down below. If you would like a part 2, or if you'd like me to draw a specific hybrid of your choice, leave a comment down below telling me 2 species and I will pick 3 of them to create. If you would like a part 2, and you'd like me to draw a specific hybrid of your choice, leave a comment down below with 2 species names and I will pick 3 to create when I create part 2. If you have liked this video, please support me by leaving a like and subscribing to my channel. I haven't really done many videos surrounding my art, but I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I also have a few Aries giveaways happening over on my Discord server, which can be found in the link in the description or in the pinned comment. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay safe, but most importantly, stay funky.